The rain hammered down so hard that Helena Armstrong could barely see 5 feet in front of her, and that was before her BMW started making a sound like a dying animal and rolled to a pathetic stop on the side of the empty highway. Perfect. Just perfect, she muttered, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. Her designer heels clicked against the brake pedal one last time as she tried the ignition again. Nothing. The dashboard lights flickered mockingly before going completely dark. Helena pulled out her phone. No signal. Of course there was no signal. She was 30 miles outside the city, heading back from a disaster of a merger meeting that had collapsed spectacularly, and now she was stranded in what felt like a monsoon. The universe apparently had a twisted sense of humor today. She sat there for a moment, watching water cascade down her windshield, contemplating her options. Walking in this weather wearing a silk Armani suit and 4-inch heels seemed like a terrible idea. Waiting for another car to pass by seemed equally futile since she had not seen another vehicle in the last 20 minutes. Just as she was considering whether her expensive leather interior could double as shelter for the night, headlights appeared through the downpour. An old pickup truck, maybe from the 90s, slowed down and pulled up behind her. Helena's first instinct was caution. She was alone, vulnerable, and this stretch of highway was not exactly known for its neighborhood watch program. The driver's door opened and a man got out, immediately getting drenched. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a flannel shirt and jeans that were soaked through within seconds. He jogged up to her window and she rolled it down just a crack. "You okay in there?" He called over the sound of the rain. His voice was deep, concerned rather than threatening. "Car died," Helena said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. "Pop the hood. Let me take a look." "You do not have to, madam. You are stuck in the middle of nowhere in a storm. Let me help." Something about his straightforward manner made her reach down and pull the hood release. She watched through the rain-blurred windshield as he disappeared toward the front of her car. Minutes passed. She could see his silhouette moving, bending over the engine, and she found herself wondering what kind of person stopped in weather like this to help a complete stranger. He appeared at her window again, water dripping from his dark hair. "Your alternator belt snapped." "I have got some tools in my truck. I might have something that will work temporarily, at least enough to get you somewhere dry." "Really? Give me 10 minutes." Helena watched as he jogged back to his pickup and returned with a weathered toolbox. She felt useless sitting in her car while he worked in the pouring rain, so she grabbed her coat from the back seat, threw it over her head, and stepped out into the storm. "You should stay in the car," he said without looking up from the engine. "You are getting soaked because of me." "The least I can do is get equally wet." He glanced at her then, and she saw his face clearly for the first time. Strong jawline, maybe early 30s, with eyes that seemed kind despite the harsh circumstances. A slight smile tugged at his lips. "Suit yourself." They stood there in the rain, and Helena held a flashlight she had grabbed from her glove compartment, pointing it at the engine while he worked. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, and she found herself mesmerized by the confidence in his movements. "I am Helena, by the way," she said, having to raise her voice over the rain. "Kyle," he replied, concentrating on whatever he was doing with a wrench. "Kyle Henderson." "Thank you for stopping, Kyle. Most people would not have." "Most people are not mechanics," he said, and there was that almost smile again. "Or former mechanics, anyway. I do not do it professionally anymore, but I still know my way around an engine." "What do you do now?" "Carpenter. Construction work, mostly. Whatever pays the bills." He finished tightening something and straightened up. "Try starting it now." Helena slipped back into the driver's seat, turned the key, and the engine roared to life. She could not help the surprised laugh that escaped her. Kyle closed the hood and came around to her window. "That should hold for a little while, but you need to get to a proper mechanic soon. There is a town about 15 miles up the road. Follow me and I will make sure you get there safely." "I cannot ask you to do that." "You are not asking, I am offering." His tone was firm but not unkind. Besides, if that belt gives out again, you will be right back where you started. Helena nodded, feeling strangely moved by this stranger's kindness. Okay, thank you. Kyle walked back to his truck, and Helena followed its taillights through the storm. The rain started to ease up slightly as they drove, and by the time they reached the small town, it had reduced to a steady drizzle. Kyle pulled into a gas station with a small garage attached and parked. Helena pulled in beside him. They will be closed now, Kyle said, getting out of his truck, but they will open at 7 tomorrow morning. There is a decent motel just down the street, not fancy but clean. Helena looked at her watch. It was almost 9 in the evening. The idea of staying in a roadside motel made her want to cringe, but the alternative was trying to make it back to the city with a failing alternator in bad weather. I suppose I do not have much choice. I can give you a ride to the motel if you want. Pick you up in the morning and bring you back here. She studied him for a moment. Why are you being so nice to me? Kyle seemed taken aback by the question. Because you needed help. Is there supposed to be another reason? Helena realized how cynical she sounded. In her world, people always wanted something. Favors came with strings attached. Kindness was currency. But this man, this stranger in the rain, seemed to operate on a completely different system. I am sorry. That was rude of me. Yes, I would appreciate a ride to the motel. They left her BMW in the garage parking lot, and Helena grabbed her emergency overnight bag from the trunk. She always kept one packed for unexpected business trips, though she had never imagined using it like this. Kyle's truck smelled like sawdust and coffee, and there was a child's car seat in the back that made Helena curious. You have a kid? She asked as they drove down the main street. Yeah, a daughter. Lily, she is 5. His whole face changed when he mentioned her, softening in a way that made Helena's heart do something unexpected. She must be missing you. She is at home with my mom. I was coming back from a job site when I saw you. He pulled into the motel parking lot. Here we are. Not the Ritz, but like I said, it is clean. Helena reached for her purse. Let me pay you for your time and for the part you used. Kyle shook his head. Not necessary. Please, you went out of your way. Madam Helena, I stopped to help because it was the right thing to do, not because I wanted payment. But if it makes you feel better, buy me a cup of coffee in the morning when I pick you up. She found herself smiling despite the day's disasters. Deal. What time? 7 too early. I am usually up by 5, so 7 is perfect. All right then, I will see you tomorrow morning. He waited until she got out of the truck before adding, Sleep well, Helena. She watched him drive away, feeling oddly disappointed that their interaction was over, which was ridiculous. She was Helena Armstrong, CEO of Armstrong Technologies, a woman who had built a multi-million-dollar company from the ground up. She did not get flustered by handsome mechanics who happened to be good Samaritans, except apparently she did. The motel room was exactly as advertised, not fancy, but clean. Helena took a hot shower, washing away the rain and the stress of the day. As she lay in bed, she found her thoughts drifting back to Kyle, the way he had worked on her car without hesitation. The way his face had lit up when he talked about his daughter. The fact that he had refused payment for helping her. She fell asleep, thinking about the coffee they would share in the morning. Kyle showed up at exactly 7, looking more put together than he had the night before. His flannel was dry, his hair combed, and he had shaved. Helena, who had put on the spare business casual outfit from her emergency bag, felt strangely nervous as she climbed into his truck. There is a diner next to the garage, Kyle said. They make good coffee and even better pancakes if you are hungry. Coffee sounds perfect. The diner was classic small-town America, vinyl booths, a jukebox in the corner, and a waitress who called everyone honey. They slid into a booth by the window, and Kyle ordered 2 coffees. So, he said, wrapping his hands around his mug when it arrived, what does someone like you do that has them driving through the middle of nowhere on a Wednesday night? Someone like me? Expensive car, fancy suit. You are not from around here. Helena laughed. No, I am not. I live in the city. I am a CEO of a tech company. I was coming back from a meeting that went south. CEO, Kyle repeated, looking impressed. That is something. You must work pretty hard. Around the clock, usually. It does not leave much time for anything else. She was not sure why she added that last part. It made her sound lonely, which she was, but she did not usually admit it to strangers. That is tough, Kyle said, and he sounded like he genuinely meant it. Life is too short to just work, says the man who does construction and carpentry. That cannot be easy work. It is not, he admitted, but it is good work. I build things, fix things, and it lets me be home for Lily in the evenings. I coach her soccer team on weekends. What about her mother? Helena asked, then immediately regretted it. I am sorry, that is too personal. It is okay. Kyle looked down at his coffee. She left when Lily was 2, decided motherhood was not for her. We have not heard from her since. I am sorry. Do not be. We are doing fine, Lily and me. My mom helps out when I need to work late. It is not always easy, and money is tight sometimes, but we manage. Lily is happy, and that is what matters. Helena found herself admiring him more with every word. She is lucky to have you. I am lucky to have her, Kyle corrected. She is the best thing that ever happened to me. They talked for another hour, long after their coffee cups had been refilled multiple times. Helena learned that Kyle had been a mechanic before switching to carpentry, that he had built Lily's treehouse himself, that his favorite movie was The Princess Bride because his daughter loved it. Kyle learned that Helena had started her company in her garage 7 years ago, that she had no siblings, that she worked so much because she did not really have anything else. You should find something else, Kyle said gently. Work is important, but it cannot be everything. What would you suggest? Anything that makes you happy. A hobby, friends, a life outside the office. Helena realized she could not remember the last time she had done something just for fun. You might be right. Kyle glanced at his watch. The garage should be opening now. Ready to get your car fixed for real? They walked over to the garage, and Kyle explained the situation to the mechanic, a grizzled man named Ray who nodded along and promised to have the BMW running perfectly by noon. Helena gave Ray her information and then turned to Kyle. Thank you. For everything, the rescue, the coffee, the conversation. It was my pleasure. Kyle smiled, and Helena felt that flutter in her chest again. I hope the rest of your week goes better than yesterday. I hope so too. She hesitated, then pulled out one of her business cards. If you are ever in the city, look me up. I owe you more than just coffee. Kyle took the card, studying it. Armstrong Technologies. Impressive. Or if you need anything, call me, I mean it. I will keep that in mind. He held out his hand, and Helena shook it, aware of how strong and warm his grip was. Take care, Helena. You too, Kyle. She watched him walk back to his truck and drive away, feeling an unexpected sense of loss. It was crazy. She had known this man for less than 24 hours. But something about their connection had felt real in a way that nothing in her life had felt for a long time. Helena spent the next 3 hours in the diner, working on her laptop and making calls. By noon, her car was ready, running smoothly, and she was back on the road to the city. But her mind kept drifting to Kyle and his daughter and the way he had helped her without wanting anything in return. The next 2 weeks were a blur of meetings, conference calls, and product launches. Helena threw herself into work the way she always did, but something felt different. She kept thinking about what Kyle had said, about finding things outside of work that made her happy. She started leaving the office at reasonable hours. She went to a yoga class. She met her college roommate for dinner, something she had been putting off for months, and she thought about Kyle. More than she probably should have, she told herself it was gratitude, nothing more. He had helped her when she needed it. That was all. But late at night, when she was alone in her penthouse apartment, she would find herself wondering what he was doing, if he was reading bedtime stories to Lily, if he ever thought about the woman he had helped in the rain. 3 weeks after their encounter, Helena made a decision. She looked up carpenters in Kyle's area, found his small business listing online and called the number. Henderson Carpentry, Kyle's voice answered, professional but warm. Helena's heart started racing. Kyle, it is Helena Armstrong. From the rainstorm, Kyle finished, and she could hear the smile in his voice. I remember, how are you? I am good, great actually. Listen, I know this is going to sound strange, but I have a project I would like to hire you for. There was a pause. What kind of project? I just bought a cabin. Well, it is more like a disaster of a structure that happens to be on beautiful property about an hour outside the city. It needs a lot of work. New deck, kitchen renovation, maybe some structural repairs. Are you interested? Another pause. Helena, you do not have to make up work to pay me back for helping you. I am not making it up. I really did buy a cabin, and it really does need work. I got the keys yesterday and nearly fell through the porch. But I will admit that you were the first person I thought of when I realized I needed a carpenter. Why me? There are plenty of contractors in the city. Because I trust you, Helena said honestly, and because you do good work. Will you at least come look at it and give me an estimate? She could hear Kyle breathing on the other end of the line. Okay, when? This weekend? Saturday morning? I will have Lily with me. Bring her. The property has a stream and woods. She might enjoy it. All right. Text me the address and I will see you Saturday. Helena spent the next 3 days in a state of nervous anticipation that was completely unlike her usual composed self. She told herself she was just excited about getting the cabin fixed up, about having a weekend retreat. But she knew the truth. She wanted to see Kyle again. Saturday morning arrived bright and clear. Helena drove to the cabin early, stopping to pick up coffee and donuts. She was wearing jeans and a casual sweater, about as dressed down as she ever got, and she felt oddly self-conscious as she waited for Kyle's truck to pull up the long driveway. When he arrived, a little girl with dark curls and bright eyes jumped out of the passenger side, immediately running over to the stream. Lily, stay where I can see you, Kyle called, then turned to Helena. Sorry, she gets excited. It is fine. I told you she would like it here. Helena handed him a coffee. Peace offering for making you drive out here on your day off. I appreciate it. Kyle took a sip, then looked at the cabin. Wow, you were not kidding about it needing work. The cabin was rustic at best, decrepit at worst. The porch sagged, the paint was peeling, and one of the shutters was hanging at a drunken angle. But it sat on 5 acres of beautiful wooded land with a stream running through it, and Helena had fallen in love with the potential the moment she saw it. I know it is a mess, she said. But I can see what it could be. Kyle walked around the property, making notes on his phone, testing the porch boards, examining the roof. Lily ran back and forth between playing by the stream and showing her father interesting rocks she had found. Helena watched them together, saw the easy affection between father and daughter, and felt something warm settle in her chest. Daddy, look, Lily called, holding up a particularly shiny stone. That is a good one, sweetheart. Put it in your bucket. Kyle caught Helena's eye and grinned. She collects rocks. We have hundreds at home. Every rock tells a story, Helena said, crouching down as Lily ran over to her. That is a beautiful rock. It is magic, Lily said seriously. See how it sparkles? I do see. It is very special. Lily studied Helena with the intense scrutiny only a 5-year-old could manage. Are you Daddy's friend? I hope so, Helena said, glancing at Kyle, who looked slightly embarrassed. Lily, why do not you go explore by the big tree over there? Kyle suggested. Stay where I can see you. Once Lily was out of earshot, Kyle turned to Helena. Sorry about that. She is friendly with everyone. She is adorable. You are doing a great job with her. I am trying. Kyle looked back at the cabin. So, about this project. It is going to be expensive, Helena. We are talking at least 3 months of work, maybe more. New foundation on the porch, structural repairs, complete kitchen gut, new deck. I can give you names of some contractors who might be cheaper. I do not want cheaper. I want you. The words hung in the air between them, and Helena realized how they sounded. She felt heat rise to her cheeks. I mean, I want you to do the work, Because I trust you." Kyle smiled, and there was something in his eyes that made Helena's pulse quicken. "Okay. Let me draw up a proper estimate and send it to you. But I have to warn you, I can mostly only work weekends because of my other jobs during the week." "That is fine. I am thinking of this as a long-term project anyway. Maybe I will even help." "You want to help renovate your own cabin? Why not?" "I have never built anything in my life. It might be nice to learn," Kyle laughed. "All right then, but do not say I did not warn you when you are sore from hammering nails." They spent another hour going over the details while Lily played. Helena found herself watching Kyle more than the cabin, noticing the way he moved with confidence, the way he explained things patiently, the way he checked on his daughter every few minutes. This was a good man, she thought. The kind of man who worked hard and loved fiercely and helped strangers in rainstorms. As they were getting ready to leave, Lily ran up to Helena and handed her a rock. "For you, because you are nice." Helena accepted the smooth river stone, feeling absurdly touched. "Thank you, Lily. I will keep it safe. Maybe you can come play at the stream again," Lily said hopefully. "I would like that." Kyle ruffled his daughter's hair. "Come on, kiddo, let's get home for lunch. Say goodbye to Miss Helena." "Just Helena," Helena corrected, "and I will see you both soon." She watched them drive away, clutching the rock Lily had given her, and realized she was smiling. Really, genuinely smiling in a way she had not in years. The estimate Kyle sent her on Monday was fair, probably too fair. Helena suspected he had undercharged her, but when she called to negotiate a higher price, he refused. "That is what the work is worth," he insisted. "Take it or leave it." "Fine, when can you start?" "Next Saturday," and so began a pattern. Every Saturday morning, Kyle and Lily would arrive at the cabin. Kyle would work on whatever the current project was while Lily played nearby, and Helena, true to her word, helped. She learned how to use a hammer properly, how to measure twice and cut once, how to paint without dripping. She got splinters and sore muscles and felt more alive than she had in years. She also got to know Kyle and Lily better. She learned that Lily's favorite color was purple, that she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up, that she was afraid of thunderstorms. She learned that Kyle's favorite breakfast was pancakes, that he had taught himself carpentry from YouTube videos and library books, that he dreamed of one day building houses full-time instead of just doing repairs and renovations. Why do not you? Helena asked one Saturday afternoon as they worked on reinforcing the porch beams. "It takes money to start that kind of business," Kyle said, not looking up from his work. "Right now, I am focused on making sure Lily has what she needs. The big dreams can wait. What if they do not have to?" Kyle straightened up, wiping sweat from his forehead. "What do you mean?" "I invest in small businesses sometimes. If you ever want to expand, I could help." "Helena, I cannot accept money from you. It would not be a gift. It would be an investment, a business arrangement." Kyle shook his head, smiling slightly. "Let me think about it." Helena did not push, but she filed the information away. She was good at seeing potential, and Kyle had it in spades. He just needed a chance. The weeks turned into months. Fall arrived, painting the woods around the cabin in brilliant colors. The porch was rebuilt, solid and safe. The kitchen began to take shape. Helena started spending entire weekends at the cabin, even after Kyle and Lily went home. She would sit on the new porch with a glass of wine, listening to the stream, feeling more at peace than she ever did in her city penthouse. And somewhere along the way, she fell in love. It was not dramatic or sudden. It was in the small moments. The way Kyle taught her to properly hold a drill. The way he made Lily lunch and insisted Helena eat too, handing her sandwiches with the crusts cut off the way his daughter liked them. The way he listened when she talked about work stress, offering quiet support without trying to fix everything. The way he looked at her sometimes when he thought she was not paying attention, like she was something precious. She fell in love with Lily too, with her endless curiosity and her generous heart, and the way she started asking when Helena was coming every time Kyle mentioned the cabin project. Helena bought her a stuffed animal, a purple bunny, and the look of pure joy on Lily's face made her eyes sting with unexpected tears. But Helena did not say anything. Kyle was working for her, and she did not want to make things awkward or seem like she was taking advantage of their professional relationship. And more than that, she was terrified. She had built her entire adult life around her career, around being independent and self-sufficient. The thought of being vulnerable, of admitting she needed someone, was paralyzing. It was mid-November when everything changed. They were working on installing the new deck, and the weather had turned cold. Lily was inside the cabin, which now had functioning heat, watching a movie on Helena's tablet. Kyle was teaching Helena how to use the nail gun, standing close behind her to guide her aim. "Like this," he said, his hands covering hers, his breath warm against her ear. "Steady pressure." Helena pulled the trigger and the nail sank perfectly into the wood. She turned to celebrate and found her face inches from Kyle's. They froze, and for a moment, neither of them moved. "Helena," Kyle said softly, his eyes searching hers. "Yes." "I need to tell you something, and I hope it does not mess everything up." Her heart was pounding. "Okay. I have not been able to stop thinking about you since the night I met you in that rainstorm. At first, I told myself it was nothing, that we were too different, that you were just being nice by hiring me. But these past few months, getting to know you, watching you with Lily." He took a breath. "I am falling for you. Hell, I might already be in love with you. And I know that is crazy because you are you and I am just a carpenter who drives an old truck and has a kid. But I had to tell you because I cannot keep pretending I am just your contractor." Helena stared at him, her mind reeling. "You love me." "I think so. Yes." Kyle stepped back, running a hand through his hair. "I am sorry. I should not have said anything. This is your project and I have made it weird," and Helena kissed him. She had never been the type to make the first move, had always been cautious and calculated in her relationships. But in that moment, with the cold wind blowing and Kyle's confession hanging in the air, she did not want to be careful. She wanted to be brave. Kyle responded immediately, his arms coming around her, pulling her close. The kiss was warm and perfect and full of all the feelings Helena had been holding back for months. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing hard. "I am falling for you too," Helena whispered. "I have been trying not to, telling myself it was impossible, but I cannot help it." "You are the best man I have ever met, Kyle Henderson." "Yeah," Kyle grinned, and it was like the sun coming out. "Yeah," he kissed her again, softer this time, and Helena felt something inside her that had been tightly wound for years finally relax. "Daddy." They jumped apart as Lily came running out onto the deck. "Daddy, the movie is over. Can we have hot chocolate now?" She looked between them, her eyes narrowing with a child's keen perception. "Why are you being weird?" Kyle cleared his throat, trying not to laugh. "We are not being weird, sweetheart." "Yes, you are. You are all red." Lily turned to Helena. "Why is Daddy all red?" "Because it is cold out here," Helena said, coming to Kyle's rescue. "How about we all go inside and make that hot chocolate?" The three of them went into the cabin, and Kyle made hot chocolate while Helena and Lily sat at the newly installed kitchen counter. Lily chattered about the movie she had watched, and Helena listened, acutely aware of Kyle's presence, of the new understanding between them. When Lily was distracted with her hot chocolate and a coloring book, Kyle mouthed at Helena, "We should talk. Later." Helena nodded. There was a lot to discuss. How this would work, what it meant for them, how they would handle things with Lily. But for now, she was content to sit in her almost finished cabin with Kyle and his daughter, drinking hot chocolate and feeling happier than she had in years. That evening, after Kyle and Lily left, Helena called her best friend Andrea. "I think I am in a relationship," she announced without preamble. Andrea, who had been trying to set Helena up for years, screamed so loud Helena had to hold the phone away from her ear. "Details. Now," Helena told her everything. About Kyle, about the cabin, about the kiss on the deck. Andrea listened, occasionally interjecting with excited comments. "So what is the problem?" Andrea asked when Helena finished. He is single, you are single, you both have feelings for each other. This sounds perfect. He has a daughter, a 5-year-old daughter. I do not know anything about being in a relationship with someone who has a child. So you will learn. Helena, you have built a multi-million-dollar company from scratch. You can figure out how to date a man with a kid. What if I am terrible at it? What if you are great at it? You said Lily already likes you, right? I think so. Then stop overthinking and just let yourself be happy. You deserve this. Helena hung up feeling slightly better but still nervous. The truth was, she had no idea how to navigate this. Her few past relationships had been with men in her professional circle, relationships of convenience that fizzled out when work got busy. This felt different. This felt real and important and terrifying. Kyle called her the next evening after he put Lily to bed. "Hi," he said, and Helena could hear the smile in his voice. "Hi, I have been thinking about yesterday, me too. I want this to work, Helena, but I need you to understand something. Lily comes first, always. If we do this, if we try to be together, she has to be part of the equation." "I know," Helena said. "And I would never ask you to choose. She should come first. She is your daughter and you are an amazing father. I just do not want you to feel like you are getting more than you bargained for. Dating someone with a kid is complicated." "Kyle, I am not afraid of complicated. I run a tech company. Complicated is my specialty," he laughed. "Fair point. But I am scared," Helena admitted. "I do not know how to do this. Any of this. Real relationships, kids letting someone in. I have spent so long focusing on work that I forgot how to be a person." "You are doing fine so far," Kyle said gently. "Better than fine. Lily adores you. She spent all of dinner tonight talking about the purple bunny you got her. Really, really. And I adore you too, in case that was not clear yesterday." Helena felt warmth spread through her chest. "It was pretty clear, but I do not mind hearing it again. I adore you, Helena Armstrong. I adore you too, Kyle Henderson." They talked for another hour, making plans to see each other during the week, discussing how to approach things with Lily. Kyle suggested taking things slow, letting Lily get used to the idea of Helena being around more before officially telling her they were together. Helena agreed, understanding the need to protect his daughter. The next few weeks were a careful dance. Kyle and Helena saw each other when he could get a babysitter, going on actual dates that felt wonderfully normal and exciting at the same time. They held hands in movie theaters, shared desserts at restaurants, talked about everything and nothing. On weekends, they continued working on the cabin with Lily, who remained blissfully unaware that anything had changed between the adults. Helena met Kyle's mother, Marie, a warm woman in her 60s who hugged Helena on sight and told Kyle later that she approved wholeheartedly. Marie had been worried about her son. She confided to Helena over coffee, afraid he was going to spend his whole life alone because he was too focused on being a father to let anyone in. "You are good for him," Marie said. "And he is good for you too, I think." "He is," Helena agreed. "He reminds me there is more to life than work. And you remind him that he is allowed to want things for himself. That is a good balance." By December, the cabin was nearly finished. The deck was done, the kitchen was beautiful, and the interior had been transformed from a near ruin into a cozy retreat. Helena had been furnishing it gradually, choosing pieces that felt warm and comfortable rather than expensive and impressive. On the first Saturday in December, Kyle arrived with Lily and a Christmas tree tied to the roof of his truck. "I thought the cabin needed a tree," he explained as Lily bounced excitedly. "If that is okay." "It is more than okay," Helena said, touched by the gesture. They spent the afternoon decorating the tree. Helena had bought ornaments in town, and Lily insisted on placing each one carefully, narrating her choices. "This snowman goes here because he wants to see the stream. This reindeer goes up high because reindeer can fly." Kyle and Helena worked on stringing lights, their hands brushing, sharing secret smiles. When the tree was finished, they stood back to admire it. "It is perfect," Lily declared. Then she looked at Helena seriously. Are you going to spend Christmas with us? Helena glanced at Kyle, unsure how to answer. They had not discussed the holidays yet. Would you like her to? Kyle asked his daughter. Yes, we could make cookies and watch movies, and you could see all my other decorations at home. I would love that, Helena said softly. If it is okay with your dad. More than okay, Kyle said. That night, after Lily fell asleep on the cabin couch, Helena and Kyle sat by the fire in the newly installed fireplace. Kyle had his arm around her, and Helena had her head on his shoulder, and everything felt right. I love you, Kyle said quietly. I know we have not been doing this for long, but I am sure. I love you too, Helena replied, realizing it was true. Completely, utterly true. Kyle tilted her chin up and kissed her, and Helena melted into him, feeling safe and wanted and home. Christmas came, and Helena spent it with Kyle, Lily, and Marie. She had been nervous about intruding on their family traditions, but they welcomed her warmly. She helped Lily bake cookies, watched Christmas movies, and exchanged gifts. She had gotten Lily art supplies and books, practical gifts, but the little girl's favorite was a charm bracelet with 3 charms. A house, a heart, and a star. The house is for your home, Helena explained. The heart is for your daddy because he loves you so much, and the star is because you are special. Lily immediately put it on and refused to take it off. Kyle's gift to Helena was more personal. He had made her a wooden box, beautifully crafted and engraved with coordinates, the location of the cabin where he had said he loved her. Kyle, Helena breathed, running her fingers over the smooth wood. This is incredible. For keeping important things, he said. Like rocks from little girls and memories of rainstorms. Helena kissed him, not caring that they had an audience. I love it, I love you. Kissing, Lily said, giggling. Get used to it, kiddo, Marie said with a smile. After the holidays, Helena and Kyle had a serious conversation about the future. Helena suggested that Kyle finally start his construction company, and this time she did not take no for an answer. Look, she said, pulling out a business plan she had been working on. I have run the numbers. With an initial investment, you could hire 2 employees, buy better equipment, and start bidding on bigger projects. You would still have flexibility for Lily, but you would be building something for yourself. Kyle stared at the papers. You made a business plan for my hypothetical company. I make business plans for everything. It is what I do. Helena, I cannot let you just give me money. It is not giving, it is investing. I will own 20% of the company, you will own 80%. Standard investor agreement. I believe in you, Kyle. Let me help you believe in yourself. Kyle was quiet for a long time. Then he said, on one condition. What? You promised to keep working with me on projects. I have gotten used to having you as my assistant. Helena laughed. Deal. Henderson Construction launched in February. Kyle hired 2 guys he knew from previous jobs, good workers who needed steady employment. The business took off faster than anyone expected, mostly through word of mouth and the quality of Kyle's work. He was able to reduce his outside jobs, focusing on his own company and being home more for Lily. As spring arrived, Helena realized she had been spending more time at the cabin than at her city penthouse. She worked remotely 3 days a week, made the drive into the office for important meetings, and lived for the weekends when Kyle and Lily would come over. One Saturday in April, as they sat on the finished deck watching Lily play by the stream, Kyle said, "Move in with us." Helena turned to him surprised. "What? Move in with us? You are practically living at your cabin now anyway, and that is still an hour away." "My house is only 20 minutes from your office. Lily asks about you every day when you are not here. I miss you when you are not here, so move in with us." "Kyle, that is a huge step." "I know, but I am ready if you are. I love you. Lily loves you. We want you in our lives full time, not just on weekends." Helena looked at Lily, happily splashing in the stream, then back at Kyle. A year ago, she would have said no, would have made excuses about work and independence and it being too soon. But a year ago, she had been a different person. Lonelier, more closed off. "Yes," she said. Kyle's face broke into a huge smile. Yeah, let's do it. Moving in together was an adjustment. Helena had to learn the rhythms of life with a 5-year-old, the early mornings and bedtime routines and constant noise. She had to learn to share space, to compromise on things like where to put her desk, and whether the TV could be on during dinner. Kyle had to get used to Helena's work schedule, the early morning calls and occasional weekend meetings, but they made it work. Helena started taking Lily to school in the mornings, enjoying their car rides filled with Lily's chatter about her friends and what she was learning. Kyle cooked dinner most nights, teaching Helena his recipes. They became a family. By summer, it felt like they had always been together. Helena could not remember what her life had been like before Kyle and Lily. Her penthouse sat empty and she put it on the market. "Are you sure?" Kyle asked when she told him. "That is your independence." "My independence is still intact," Helena assured him. "I am choosing this, choosing us." That is not giving up independence. That is building a life. One evening in July, after Lily was asleep, Kyle and Helena sat in the backyard. The cicadas were singing, and the air was warm and perfect. "I want to marry you," Kyle said suddenly. Helena looked at him, her heart jumping. "Is that a proposal?" "Not yet. I have not bought a ring or planned anything romantic, but I wanted you to know where my head is at. I want to marry you, Helena. I want Lily to officially have you as a parent. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life." "I want that too," Helena said softly. "But," Kyle sensed there was more, "but we should ask Lily first. She should have a say in this. It is her life too." Kyle pulled Helena close. "That is why I love you. You always think of her." They talked to Lily the next morning over breakfast. Kyle explained that he wanted to marry Helena and asked how Lily felt about that. Lily thought very seriously for a moment, chewing her pancake. Then she said, "Would Helena be my mom?" "I would never try to replace your birth mother," Helena said carefully, "but I would be your stepmom. I would love you and take care of you and be there for you if that is what you want." "Would you leave like my other mom did?" Helena's heart broke. "Never, I promise you, Lily. I am not going anywhere." Lily studied her with those serious 5-year-old eyes. "Okay, then Daddy can marry you." Kyle let out a breath he had been holding. Yeah, but I get to help pick the dress." Helena laughed, tears in her eyes. "Deal." Kyle proposed officially a month later, taking Helena back to the spot on the highway where they had first met. It was a clear day this time, sunny and beautiful, but he had the location marked. "This is where my life changed," he said, getting down on one knee. "The night I met you, I had no idea I was meeting the love of my life, but I was. You have made me happier than I ever thought possible. You have been amazing with Lily. You have supported my dreams and challenged me to be better. Will you marry me, Helena Armstrong?" The ring was perfect. Simple, elegant, exactly her style. Helena said yes through happy tears, and Kyle swept her up and spun her around. They were married in October, a small ceremony at the cabin with close friends and family. Lily was the flower girl, taking her job very seriously and making sure every petal was placed perfectly. Marie cried through the whole thing. Andrea was Helena's maid of honor and gave a speech about how she had never seen her friend so happy. Helena wore a simple white dress and carried wildflowers. Kyle wore a suit and could not stop smiling. When they exchanged vows, Helena promised to love both Kyle and Lily with everything she had. Kyle promised to support Helena's dreams the way she supported his. "You rescued me," Helena said in her vows, "in more ways than one. You taught me that there is more to life than work. That family matters. That love is worth the risk. I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with you." There was not a dry eye in the house. The reception was at the cabin, casual and warm, filled with laughter and dancing. Lily insisted on dancing with both her dad and Helena held the little girl close, overwhelmed with love for her new family. That night, after everyone had left and Lily was asleep in the cabin's guest room, Kyle and Helena stood on the deck under the stars. "We did it," Kyle said, holding his wife close. "You are really mine now." "I have been yours since that rainstorm," Helena said. "I just did not know it yet." Life settled into a wonderful new normal. Helena promoted her second in command at Armstrong Technologies and stepped back from the day-to-day operations, maintaining her CEO title but working more reasonable hours. Kyle's construction company continued to grow, earning a reputation for quality work and fair prices. Lily thrived with two parents who loved her. A year after the wedding, Helena and Kyle started talking about having another baby. Lily was ecstatic at the idea of being a big sister. They were lucky, and Helena got pregnant quickly. Kyle was nervous, having been through early fatherhood alone the first time, but Helena reminded him they were a team now. "We do this together," she said. "Every step." Their son was born in the spring, a healthy baby boy they named Kieran. Lily was an attentive big sister, always wanting to help with bottles and diaper changes. Kyle was a natural, confident in his parenting this time around. And Helena, despite her fears about being a first-time mother at 32, took to it with the same determination she brought to everything else. The cabin became their weekend retreat, a place where the four of them could escape the world. They would spend lazy Sundays by the stream, Lily teaching Kieran about rocks and trees and all the important things. Kyle would work on various projects around the property, always finding something to improve. Helena would sit on the deck with her laptop and a baby monitor, working a little but mostly just enjoying the peace. One evening, when Kieran was 6 months old and Lily was 7, the family was having dinner at home. Lily was telling them about her day at school, something about a science project on butterflies. Kieran was in his high chair, making a mess of his baby food. Kyle was serving pasta, and Helena was laughing at something ridiculous Lily had said. And in that moment, Helena realized this was it. This was the life she had been missing without knowing it, not the corner office or the luxury penthouse or the impressive title. This. Family dinners and baby giggles and a husband who looked at her like she was his whole world. "What are you thinking about?" Kyle asked, noticing her expression. "Just that I am happy," Helena said. "Really, truly happy?" Kyle leaned over and kissed her. "Me too." Kissing again, Lily said, but she was smiling. "Better get used to it," Helena said, echoing Marie's words from years ago. "We are going to be doing this for a long time." As the years passed, life continued to be full and good. Lily grew into a confident, compassionate teenager who still collected rocks and dreamed of being a veterinarian. Kieran grew into an energetic, curious little boy who wanted to build things like his father. Kyle's construction company thrived, eventually hiring 10 employees and taking on major projects throughout the state. Helena stayed involved with Armstrong Technologies, but also started mentoring young women in tech, teaching them that success did not have to mean sacrificing everything else. She and Kyle bought the land adjacent to the cabin and built a bigger house there, somewhere they could host extended family and friends. The original cabin became Kyle's workshop. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Kyle surprised Helena by taking her back to that stretch of highway where they had met. He had commissioned a small historical marker, nothing official, just a handmade sign that he planted by the roadside. It read, "Here on a rainy night, 2 lives changed forever." Helena laughed and cried and kissed her husband. "You are ridiculous. You love it." "I love you." They stood there for a while, holding each other on the side of the highway, remembering the night that had started everything. Helena thought about the woman she had been then, stressed and alone, broken down in more ways than one. She thought about Kyle stopping to help, not knowing he was offering more than a temporary fix to a broken car. He had fixed her, really. Or maybe she had fixed herself, and he had just given her the tools and the reason to do it. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For stopping that night, for seeing me when I did not even see myself, for loving me and Lily and giving me this incredible life." "Thank you for letting me," Kyle said. "For taking a chance on a struggling dad with an old truck and a lot of dreams. Best decision I ever made." They drove home together, back to their children and their life, the sun setting behind them and the road stretching out ahead, full of possibility. And as Helena looked over at Kyle, at the man who had changed everything, she knew without a doubt that every challenge, every struggle, every rainy night had been worth it. Because it had led her here. To love, to family, to home, to him, the end of their beginning and the beginning of forever.